Hi, I'm Melissa Muir. Welcome back for another video. In this video, I'm going to explain how to use some of these wire and pattern dies that you've seen popping up from time to time in different places. They come from India and they have a really deep texture into them. They are made of bronze, so you want to be careful not to use hot metal, so you don't want to be pouring molten metal or anything like that into them. They can be used either with a hydraulic press or with a hammer. Most people don't have a hydraulic press, so today I'm going to show you how to use a hammer and to use these a little bit more effectively. To use these, I'm going to use a couple of different thicknesses of wire, plus I'm also going to show you how you can take and use them kind of like a shot plate. And a shot plate is where you take like a ball of silver or copper and you just hammer it into a design. In this case, this is sterling silver. I just heated it up and that's why it's oxidized. I haven't pickled it or anything, but I just heated it up, made it into a ball, and then I'm going to show you how to use that. So we'll actually do that one first. Because these tend to be a little bit dirty, I will actually place them onto a paper towel onto my bench block, just so I protect my bench block a little bit as well, but it still gives me a nice sturdy base. In this case, this is what we call a ring die, but there's a nice deep crevice and design inside of this. So what I'm going to do is place my silver into this face down, however I want to use it, and I'm going to just use a regular cheapy hammer. Matter of fact, this came from Target for $2.50, so it's definitely nothing to write home about. Just a nice cheap hammer. So what I'm going to do is just place that in there, and I'm going to give this a nice good whack, at least once. But that's not enough to give me my design. So now that I've given it a whack, it's kind of set it into its position, and now it's time to really set this. Okay, and sometimes they'll pop right out and sometimes they give us a little difficulty, but there's our little design now. It has a little bit of a star in there, and I can file away any of the areas that I don't want to, or I can just leave that, solder it onto a piece, and now it's ready to go. So that's one way to use these dies. Another way, so this case I've got a nice channel with a lot of different design in it, and I'm going to use, this is 6 gauge. I just bought it in a great big coil over at the hardware store, so it's not too bad. Nice and bare wire. I've annealed this already, and now what I'm going to do is hold this in here. Now some people have a difficult time holding that into there, so you can use a piece of blue painter's tape or whatever else to hold this in here, and that way you don't have to worry about it bouncing around or jumping or anything like that. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did over here. You do want to keep your fingers clear, so at this point I'm going to flip this over and hammer from the other side. So I may have to do this a couple of times. I'll pull this out now and see what I have. And this, I was actually able to get a really good impression. So I don't think I need to do this one again at all. And at this point, what I would do if I had a longer piece of wire, I would just reposition this. And you can actually use that design to kind of lock it back into place and then continue on. And then it'll be nice and continuous. Or if you wanted to, you could then put it into a different die and get a whole other texture on it as well. So there's a lot of different possibilities with that. So the last one that I'm going to do, this is another ring die, and a lot of people don't know how to use these. And so, and not only that, but a lot of people aren't really drawn to the design of them, or some people weren't, and I wasn't. But I got looking at this, and I thought, well, that's kind of a cool little bale design. So what I did, I took my nice planishing hammer, and I hammered a paddle into the end of my wire. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it into this so that this flatter design or flatter part of my wire will come in and cover up that part of the leaf. And I'm going to put the design onto here. And again, same method, I'm just going to hammer this into place. And at this point, see if I can get this to focus here for you. At this point, I now have that leaf pattern in there really, really well. So now that I have this leaf design on here, what I can do is take my jeweler's saw and just trim away this portion, and then I can solder in like maybe a bezel cup or a tube setting, or I could again just take this and solder it onto another piece, or take again texture up the rest of this wire, turn it around, make it a bail. But you begin to see how many possibilities you have. If you really wanted to, you could then do the same thing to the other side, turn it around, and then it becomes a ring. And you could put whatever else in there that you need to. So hopefully that gives you a little better idea of how to use some of these tools.